Welcome to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I am your host, Jay Taylor, speaking to you from New York City here on March 28th, 2017. Before I talk about today's show, let me remind you that I am the editor of Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks, and that you can subscribe to my newsletter by going to miningstocks.com, or you can call our office at 718-457-1426, 718-457-1426 during normal work hours here in New York City. I'd like to also suggest you consider subscribing to Chen Lin's letter. You can subscribe to Chen's letter at chenpix.com. I want to thank each of you for listening to this show, making it one of the more popular shows in the Voice America Business Channel. And, of course, I want to thank our sponsors for making this show economically viable. Our sponsors for today's show are Golden Predator, Chilean Metals, Arvista Gold Corp, Dynacert, Trimetals Mining, Novo Resources, Uranium Energy Corp, and Aron Resources. Now, with regard to our sponsors, I should mention that Dynacert had been halted following the company's AGM last Friday, but just before this show, before showtime today, the stock reopened, and it reopened up some 25% in New York, at least in the over-the-counter markets. And when I looked, it was trading on very heavy volume in Canada. And I think this story is quickly becoming a very exciting one. It is a non-mining story, one of the few on our list and one of the few among our sponsors. But it is a very exciting story in terms of reducing the energy consumption and reducing carbon emissions and so forth. So a tremendous growth opportunity, I think, in front of this company. We'll be talking to the CEO of Dynacert sometime in the near future. This week, I want to advise you that I have started a weekly podcast titled Top Stock Picks, and you can follow that at jtaylormedia.com. Each week, I plan to interview one of my fellow Mining Share newsletter writer competitors from the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. Now, each week, one or two of the members on that list will discuss one or two of their top stock picks and tell you why they like those companies. And I started the podcast this week with Eric Coffin. And one of Eric's top picks is Atomera Minerals. It was they were looking for a relatively small gold deposit in western Washington state. But in fact, what they think they may have now is a sedimentary hosted gold deposit that could be very, very large. So this is a stock that's selling around 10 cents in U.S. money, and it's one I think is worth taking a look at. And, of course, I cover that one in my newsletter, as well as Vendetta Mining Corp, the other favorite of Eric's. This is a nickel play out of Australia, and it is one that's uniquely situated, we believe, Eric believes, and I share that view, to do extremely well in the nickel bull market that it just seems to now starting to be to become obvious. And that's a stock that's selling around 17 cents. Well, you might laugh at penny stocks, but those of you who follow this market, the metals, the junior metals market, know that when these things get hot, 10 baggers are certainly not are not all that unusual in a bull market. So I think these are two prospects in Eric Coffin. If you go to mining stocks, go to jtaylormedia.com, jtaylormedia.com, you can listen to why Eric thinks these are two special companies that you might want to take a look at. The other newsletter writers who speak at the Metals Investor Forum are Brent Cook, Joe Masmender, Gwen Preston, John Kaiser, Brian London, and Jordan Roy Byrne. And so they'll each be taking their turn on this podcast. And Chen Lin also will be part of that. I've invited him to come along as well. So I hope that you'll listen. And actually, you can listen to those podcasts. The first two are already up at Jay Taylor Media. They're there now if you'd like to go and listen to it. Now, though, I hope you'll wait until after this show. Today's show is titled Profiting from This Impending Stock Market Decline. And Kevin Duffy, Michael Oliver, and Bill Sheriff are our guests this week. Kevin Duffy is going to talk to us why he thinks we're in an equity bear market, how you can protect yourself against that, and Bill Sheriff is going to talk about Golden Predator, one of the hot stocks in the junior gold space these days. And so Bill will be with us right after the first break, but you don't have to wait. Michael Oliver is with us now with just about 4 minutes left in this sector. Thanks for joining me, Michael.
Oh, good to be here, Jay.
You know, Michael, the market economies, the markets themselves are very, very complicated. And President Trump wants to see an increase in exports, and he says the dollar needs to come down. On the other hand, Janet Yellen and the Fed seem determined on raising interest rates, which should increase the value of the dollar. So we can try to figure out how this is all going to happen, but it's impossible, which is why I like to listen to you and hear what your momentum strategies are telling us. What are your views on the dollar and the euro now? Because I know you felt that the dollar was precariously close to some sort of a major decline.
Yeah, late in last year, we defined a level for this year that if the dollar got there, especially a monthly close at this level or lower, we would turn bearish. It's a level that violates a decade, more than a decade old momentum uptrend on annual momentum of the dollar index. But the major player in that's got to be the euro, because euro is 57% weighted into the dollar index, a trade-weighted partner. So the number was 99. The dollar index has spent the last couple of years, once it got over 100 back in 2015, oscillating in a sideways range, roughly 10% band, almost even less than that, wandering around, but keeping the sentiment that the dollar is still a bull. And make no mistake, we're flexible on the dollar. We turned very bullish in 2011 when it was in the 70s and said we'd go to 100. So at 100, we said, get out, we're neutral. Now, if we break 99, and we've traded below it this week, traded at 98.85, I think was the low. We're back above 99. If it closes a month at 99 or lower, we are of the view that the dollar index has topped. It's headed down. Euro is likely headed up. Euro has done some good things for itself in the last week or so, but I'm still waiting on the dollar index as that second opinion. And I want to see that 99 level closed at or below on a monthly basis or traded significantly below. This obviously would help commodities as well if that happened. The reasons for it we can debate, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. But but your momentum statistics there are very helpful, Michael, and that would be bullish then I imagine for gold too. How are you seeing gold right now? You did put out a missive on March 23rd. And I
like what it's done this week. Now, there's some guys who will risk a nickel in front of a freight train and sell it because the high 5 weeks ago was $12.64, so we get the $12.61 this week. There is $3. See if they can make $30 or something. I think by getting back to the top tick, in effect, $12.60, that we dropped $60 from, then came roaring back up there. I think that's very healthy. Whether we're going to close in a way that we can launch this week, I don't know. You need to close, I think, 1250 or higher the week, not a day. And for silver, I looked at it, and it looks like 1820 or higher, and we've reached there today on the May contract. So they're both, if you can close the week around today's highs, then I'd say, well, we're probably going to push on through that level. But a lot of markets, like, again, the dollar, are sitting on these huge fences. In the case of gold, it's not so huge. In the case of the dollar, it's massive. If they can break below that level, a lot of things are going to shift because the dollar. A lot of tectonic plates are going to shift, and we're going to have some major moves in the market that will wake people up. Well, thank you, Michael. We're out of time already, folks. It's Oliver MSA. Oliver MSA. Go there to learn more about Michael's work.